It's time to review this, the Engwe L20 3.0 Pro. And this is not going to be like any of the other e-bikes that I've tested, because the others I had for a couple of weeks. This bike I've had for 4 months, so I could properly put it through its paces. And spoiler alert, if you don't want to make it to the end of the video, this is by far the best e-bike that I've tested. Well, before we get going, we're going to pop some juice into it, and yes, that is the beast of a charger. Puts in 400 watts, no problem at all, even though it's only 2 degrees out here today. The other bikes that I've tested in the past, they're 100, 150 watt chargers, so this is a beast. %. Lovely little charging indicator on this bike. So like all of these mail order bikes, this one you do have some assembly to do, and this one, it wasn't the worst, but it was far from the easiest or the best. It does come with the tools required for assembly, and it does have a manual that can kind of talk you through the process of assembly if you feel a little bit daunted or overwhelmed by it. But any competent DIYer, anyone who has worked with bikes before, you won't have any problem at all. It was actually that steerer tube and the handlebars was probably the most difficult bit. Apart from that, yeah, fiddly a little bit with the mud guards, but well worth it. And overall, not too bad. As you can see, do it on a nice sunny afternoon, and it's not a bad job at all. Okay, we're calling the range test there. That's from a fully charged battery. We are now down to 4%, and you can see 67 kilometers. And this bike was a bit different from the previous range tests that I've done on other e-bikes, where it lets you run it completely down to flat, and it still gives you reasonable power at the end. This one, once we hit 10%, it started tapering off the power, and then once we hit 5% charge, it was like a brick wall. And even turning the assist up to maximum, it was a lot of effort to ride this up any incline. It was still fine on the flat, and on the downhill it rolls well, but something to bear in mind, which is a good thing because it is protecting its battery. Now with that said, let's power this off and let's do the charging test. I'm not a huge fan of this locking mechanism, if I'm totally honest. It's not the best of all the bikes I've tested. It's okay, it does the job. The battery has not popped out on me, even on some really insane terrain, which can't be said of some other bikes. That battery likes to jump out. I turned the camera off and I think I found why I don't like this locking mechanism. There are 2 screws loose there, can you see that? I need to tighten up those 2 Phillips screws. I don't know how well the camera's getting that, but hopefully that resolves the issue that I have with this lock mechanism on the battery. We'll report back later. So straight away, now you can see the light has gone to, it first of all went to a solid green, which means it's communicating with the battery, and then it's gone to a solid red for a charge. And as you can see, it is charging, hope you can see that, 377 watts and climbing. Here's the specification of the battery. Once again, I have no idea how well you can read that, but it uses Samsung cells. This particular battery, it's a 48 volt battery, 15 amp hour capacity, so that's 720 watt hours. Ooh, and it feels cold. I wonder if the battery was warm, maybe it would have started taking a bit more power. The light's gone green to show that it's charged. I wasn't here for every moment, but it took approximately an hour and a half, and the charge rate definitely got over 450 watts at one point. Let's go stick this back in the bike, do some more riding. So the colour I've got here is the champagne gold. It of course comes in a black as well. At the moment they are both priced at £1,399 with a 15% discount. If you have a look at my discount code, then you should be able to get a little bit more off this price as well. Let me talk you through some of the specifications. Of course, is 100 Newton meter mid-drive motor, so that's the maximum torque. The maximum theoretical range is 160 kilometers. I did not achieve that, but I was trying to torch test the range. You've seen the charging and the battery capacity on it as well. This also comes with an app and connectivity, so it's interesting to note that this bike will get updates over the air. So a couple of things now we're at a standstill. Suspension, the front is a basic shock. The rear works really well. This is not designed for off-roading, but if you want to go across a grassy field or something like that, a gravel path, this is calibrated absolutely perfectly. The tyres, you may never have heard them. You may never have heard of these tyres before, but I've had these on one of the previous bikes that I've reviewed and I do rate them. They are a great tyre, good all round, good mix, not too much resistance, just enough grip off-road, good when they're wet as well. The hydraulic brakes are phenomenal. They are big enough. The calipers have plenty enough power, front and back. If anything, the back is probably oversized. Oh, I just remembered another bit that I don't like. The washers they use for holding this rack on, that could definitely be a good improvement. Pedals are fine, but of course they don't have any folding option. If that's something that's important to you, you can change it. And the seat does not work for me. Both for me and my wife, we find that the seat is not quite right. But that's always something that's a personal preference thing. And perhaps a little bit of adjustment here could go a long way, just in the angle. And I think probably just scooching it forward a little bit might help the cause as well. The gear change, very direct, very good out of the box. Shimano Tawny, so solid and robust. You can see up here we've got a cadence sensor. Well, we've got the magnet here and then we've got the sensor down there. And I think that's all you need to know. The screen is phenomenal. It doesn't have too much information on it. Yeah, works really well. This combines a very strong high torque motor, fast charging, full suspension for comfort, and good, strong, powerful brakes and tyres. All round, as a package, it's a great package. Despite a few quirks and some of those drawbacks that I highlighted, most of those you can easily address through your personal preference and a little bit of customization, a different saddle and different handlebar grips, and I would be a very, very happy boy. Here's a brief summary conclusion of this amazing Engwe bike. Let's start with the weak points. I'm not a fan of those handlebar grips. They're not my preference. The rear brake slightly dragging, even though they're hydraulic brakes. That may bed in over the miles, so not a deal breaker. The battery mount issue we did resolve, but this horn, no idea why it's doing that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Battery life is phenomenal, and it is insane how much torque this motor has. It does not feel like you are riding a road legal 250 watt motor. Yes, it still caps itself at the same top speed, but the amount of torque, it just flattens hills just unbelievably well. And then lastly, the mid-drive motor. What do I think about that mid-drive motor? Wow, it's insanely natural. It just makes you feel superhuman. Those early bikes I tested, they had cadence sensors, so the motor was a bit off and on, and then we progressed up to bikes with torque sensors. But now riding a bike with a torque sensor and a mid-drive motor, it's head and shoulders above the rest in the way that it rides and the way that it feels.